You come on the O'Reilly factor.
Well, he isn't exactly a journalist.
Looks like I'm not about to go camping with Ron Paul anytime soon. Why does the congressman dislike the factor? And what is behind his ire? Jesse Waters will tell us.
You didn't want to explain that to O'Reilly?
Well, he wouldn't have understood it.
Also, Ron Paul from Texas continues his quest to be president, even though most polls have him around 10%. On his website, Mr. Paul was complaining that the media was ignoring him. We don't like to see that. Mr. Paul deserves some recognition, so we invited him on the factor. Unfortunately, he turned us down. So we sent producer Jesse Waters to see him in New Hampshire.
Jesse Waters with Fox News. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Just a few questions for you. Why wouldn't you come on the O'Reilly factor? We were all pretty surprised. It's pretty good exposure.
You know, I never remember getting a precise invitation other than the only thing I heard was he was sort of ranting on the TV. And I probably had other things to do and maybe better things. Who knows?
Well, you were saying that the media was ignoring you, and, you know, it's a pretty big show. O'Reilly was pretty disappointed because he remembered you guys had quite a spark the last time.
Well, he isn't exactly a journalist. If he had been more journalistic, I might have considered it, but he doesn't come across as being journalistic.
Well, I'll be the journalist. Bill sent me. I know I'm a little shorter than he is, so this is the no-spin zone. Just have a few questions for you.
Okay.
Are you okay with Iran developing a nuclear weapon?
All they're saying is, aren't we entitled to one? Matter of fact, there's no evidence for sure that they have, because so far the evidence, whether with our CIA or the United Nations, they do not have concrete evidence that they're on the verge of having a nuclear weapon.
So if you were president, you wouldn't do anything to stop Iran from nuking up?
Well, what my policies would do would probably give them less incentive. I'd probably talk to them. I'd probably remove the blockade and not threaten them. They want weapons. See, you know, the Libyans had a nuclear weapon program, and we talked them out of it. So once they got rid of their nuclear program, what did we do? We went in there and, you know, took them out. So I would say that if we could see a little bit how other people think, you know, treat people like we might want to be treated. So no, I am not. I don't think it would be the end of the world.
And you're a big gold guy. You talk about gold a lot. Bill thinks this is fascinating, but it's a little confusing. What do you want to do with gold?
Well, I want to just obey the Constitution. The Constitution says only gold and silver can be legal tender. And Bill has a little problem with economic understanding. Have you noticed that? He doesn't pronounce, you know, the words quite correctly. And he admits it, that he doesn't know much about it.
Well, enlighten us. Well, what is your idea of what we should do with gold? Is it all in Fort Knox, or should we start digging it up?
I just said we should obey the Constitution, make gold and silver legal tender. Why doesn't he care, or anybody care, about the Constitution? Right now, nobody legalized paper money. Where did that come from? They just ignore it. They talk about the Constitution when it pleases them, but when it doesn't please them, like going to war without a declaration. Go bomb Iran. You know, they might get a nuclear weapon. Well, is there a declaration of war? Why is it that some people, you know, think we should obey the Constitution sometimes, but other times?
So that wasn't so bad. You didn't want to explain that to O'Reilly?
Well, he wouldn't have understood it.
Thank you very much.
All right, here now is Jesse Waters. Now, I have read the Constitution. It doesn't say anything about gold and silver. What is he talking about?
He's misreading the Constitution, and this theory of his has been around for quite some time. It's just not taken very seriously in most circles. Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution says Congress has the ability to coin money and regulate the currency, and doesn't say anything about gold and silver.
Right.
What I think he's saying is that Article 10 does not allow the states to print money. And that's just because you don't want to have Massachusetts having one currency and New York having another. That's chaos.
Right.
And he's misinterpreting that.
Okay, and also there is a part of that in the states thing that says if they're going to have any coinage at all that has to be simpatico with the United States, they have to use gold or silver. They can't use, you know, mutton to do that. Right. So I know that I, according to him, don't understand economics, but I think I understand the Constitution a little bit, because in 1971, we went off the gold standard under President Nixon into the Federal Reserve notes, because we were a worldwide currency. And remember, everybody, before that, you could redeem your money for gold and silver, and government simply couldn't do it now. So what are we to think of Ron Paul? I mean, is he a loon? I mean, what are we to think of him when he comes up with this kind of stuff? I don't really know.
Well, he has a very large following, and I expected him to be a little nicer to you, but he was very curmudgeon-y.
He doesn't like me.
No, he doesn't like you. And then afterwards, he said to me, you know, Bill wouldn't let me talk, but you would, Jesse, so thank you.
Well, you know, you're a much nicer guy than I am. But see, when he was on here, he kind of wandered into Lawrence of Arabia, and then, you know, it's only an hour show. If we had, you know, a telethon, we might be able to do it. No, I'm not being disrespectful to Mr. Paul. The title of his opinion, Dr. Paul, by the way, is a medical doctor. But I do think he's pretty far out there. All right, Jesse, good work as always. It's not Snooki, it wasn't Jersey Shore, but you did a good job. We appreciate it. Greg Leatt, Dick Morris on the turn. With Ron Paul. Do you think that Dr. Paul really feels he has a chance to win?
No.
So why does he do it?
He has ideas. He wants them expressed. He's kind of a curmudgeon. He probably likes the attention. It's something between self-seeking attention and, on the other hand, a true belief that he wants to put out there.
Okay, so he wants to get his ideas in the marketplace to discuss them in the hopes that maybe some of them will gain some traction.
When you take the gold standard, it's perfectly true that the Fed has horribly abused its right to coin currency. They've tripled the money supply in 2 years. On the other hand, if we return to the gold standard, we would not be able to have enough money to pay our economy unless they mined more in South Africa. I mean,
yeah, because, I mean, if you had people demanding money, gold and silver,
a gold supply would last for an hour.
Right.
I mean, back in the days when there was not much international currency.
He's got to know that. I mean, and so he just throws this stuff out. And just the Iran situation, I don't care. They have the nuke weapon. That throws everything off in the whole world. I mean,
it's nice if you don't mind a second Holocaust in killing 6 million Jews.
Could happen. I mean, he'll say that's hyperbole. But if you look, North Korea is isolated.
It's not my hyperbole. It's Ahmadinejad's hyperbole. He's the one that's
he's threatened it, but so is North Korea, and they do have it. So you can make the but why would you want to just be, well, I'll talk to him. It's not a big deal. All right, let's get on to the Bachmann campaign. It's pretty interesting.